Good evening. Good evening, kings and queens of the land. Good evening. Good evening to the liberated zones in Africa. Good evening to Burkina Faso, which is led by the Lion of the Sahel, President Ibrahim Traore, Captain Ibrahim Traore. Good evening to the liberated zone of Mali, led by the tiger himself, the Sahel tiger himself, uh, Mr. Assimi Goita, General Assimi Goita. Good evening to Niger, the liberated zone in the French colony, led by President Abdurrahman Tian. Good evening, good evening. Good evening to South Africa. Good evening to KZN in particular, partially liberated zone in the British colonies, in all of the British colonies. This is the only hope, the only light that we have, that maybe Britain can, or the Queen um, can let us free. This is the only hope. The MK party leading KwaZulu Natal, led by President Jacob Zuma. Good evening to KZ, and my name is Mngoni Mkonto. This is the Royal Opinion. Today we're talking about how President Ibrahim Traore disrupted the plan for people to go hungry in Africa and also across the world. That is the topic today. That's what we are talking about. But before we go into details about that, I want to have a comment. In South Africa, the ANC, the African National Congress, is pushing for Patrice Motsepe to become the president of the ANC, who in the slaves of Salon is better fitted than Patrice Motsepe, a man whom, of course, if we go to the issue of his businesses, he's got mining interest, a man whom has been promoted by the Salon system or the Babylonian system as one of the richest among black people, presented as one of the richest among black people. Coincidentally, there's another man called Patrice Talon, who is the president of Benin, who have probably the same profile, who was probably the same profile as Patrice Motsepe, but who in the slaves of Salon is better fitted, because Patrice Motsepe has been promoted. He owns the soccer club, which is Sundowns, which is already has got lots of fans in South Africa. And then he also has fans across the continent because he's a president of CAF. He also have fans in South Africa generally because he's a soccer leader, he's a leader in the soccer fraternity. So South Africa has already, the system knows that they have already made South Africa a soccer nation. meaning all of the youth are following soccer through the betting system. They have captured. That's why there's even a crisis of betting crisis in South Africa because the youth have been captured into soccer. It was better if youth were playing soccer, but youth are not playing soccer. Youth are watching and betting soccer, so they are not fit. Most of the youth are not fit to do anything. They are not even fit to even have children. Most of the young people who are available these days. Destruction of the nation by the system, intentional destruction of the nation by the system. So South Africa is already made a soccer nation. Most of the people in South Africa are young people, and most of the young people in South Africa are into soccer. So if you take a character which is like Petrus Motsepe, who is into soccer, and bring him into politics, he will attract a lot of votes for the ANC, and is gonna be able to cause confusion for black people because he's also a black man. He's also seen as what they call a philanthropist. Those people who give money. When white people give them a lot of money, they give it away in one way or another. In actual fact, that's what they use to scam the public, to appear good to the public, while we know these are criminals. Who else can convince black people to vote for them? Criminal ANC than the slave of Talon himself, Mr. Petrus Motsepe. I think this is a good decision for them. ANC, it would be a good move for the ANC to try and battle out, because the MK party is going to take everything if they are not going to uh, do anything about it. So I think introduction of Petrus Motsepe is going to fool a lot of black children and a lot of black youth, especially most those who are following soccer, and it's going to attract a lot of young people into politics, but the politics which will be only when you praise the government, that those type of politics are going to be allowed. But if you are against, when you talk against, or when you talk the truth against government, those kind of things will not be allowed under Petrus Motsepe, if possibly he takes over, because he's already sacrificed his one of the slaves of Salon, is one of the slave traders. We've got a lot of slave traders in South Africa. Those are the people who are actually even dominating the country, or the leadership of the country. Those are slaves of Salon. Those are the people who are selling out their people like they are selling out tomatoes. Mothers wake up and go to the streets to sell tomatoes. The slaves of Salon and slave traders like President Ramaphosa and Julius Malema, they go there to sell people. They go to the table of white people to sell black people. So we're talking about, let me actually share this video so that we can start talking from this one.
In 2012, the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation's Grand Challenges Explorations Program funded the All Things Bugs project to develop insect-based foods to combat malnutrition in famine-affected areas. The foundation has since expanded this initiative, now collaborating with the US Armed Forces. The Department of Defense is backing the program to explore genetically modified insects for human consumption. US regulations on insect-based food products remain ambiguous, with no formal approval process or ban in place. As a result, companies are offering insect-based foods to consumers despite these products being classified as filthy, adulterated foods under the Federal Food, Drug and Cosmetic Act of 1938. In fact, items containing crickets and grasshoppers are already widely available in US stores and restaurants, appearing in products like protein bars and shakes, as well as in animal feed and pet foods. With few regulatory hurdles, investors like Bill Gates and major food corporations such as Tyson Foods are supporting alternative protein projects and startups. Dr. Meryl Nass, founder of Door to Freedom and an internist, told that lenient FDA regulations allow many insect-based foods to be classified as generally regarded as safe, meaning they bypass further testing, potentially overlooking safety concerns. Nass suggested it could take generations to fully assess the safety of these foods. Gates's investment in insect-based foods includes All Things Bugs expansion into providing alternative proteins for the military. This involves collaboration with the Pentagon's Defense Advanced Research Projects Agency, DARPA, to use CRISPR gene editing and other technologies to develop genetically modified bioresources from insects. All Things Bugs emphasize that while insects are a very sustainable source of protein, the goal is to make them a viable commodity for the food industry. Claire.
Did you hear that? Did you hear that? This is the plan. The plan is to change the food program, the food that people currently are eating. The meat will disappear. They want to manufacture genetically modified insects. Those who grew up from villages, like myself, would have tested some insects at one stage of their lives. Village insects. There are particular insects that are eaten in villages. Depending on where you grew up, there are particular insects that are eaten in that particular area or village, which is popular in that area. But this time around, Bill Gates is talking about genetically modified insects, meaning the insects that are going to be manufactured by him in order to make food a commodity. That's what he says here. That's what they say. Let me.
Alternative proteins for the military. This involves collaboration with the Pentagon's Defense Advanced Research Projects Agency, DARPA, to use CRISPR gene editing and other technologies to develop genetically modified bioresources from insects. All Things Bugs emphasize that while insects are a very sustainable source of protein, the goal is to make them a viable commodity for the food industry. Claire Robinson, managing editor of GM Watch, cautioned in an interview with that all GMOs, including insects, must undergo pre-market risk assessments for health and environmental impacts, including testing for pathogens, allergens, and toxic substances. She stressed that these products should be clearly labeled for consumers. Gates's investments in insect-based foods are part of a larger strategy to explore alternatives to animal-based foods. He has also heavily invested in other alternative food technologies. In February, Gates blogged about his investment in Savor, a startup that produces butter by converting carbon dioxide into fats using a thermochemical process. Nature's Find, a food tech startup that creates protein from a microbe found in Yellowstone's geothermal spring.
Okay. So this is the plan. The plan is to change the food that people are currently eating, which is uh, mostly meat, and go to food which will be easier to produce for them, because now producing a cow, producing a cattle, it takes them too long. Meat production takes them too long, even when they try to shorten the process, because a cattle, they sell it at between 6 months and 1 year. It's already old enough for them to sell it, because the cattles are given drugs as well to be able to pump themselves up, to be able to grow faster than what they are supposed to grow, meaning the cow themselves or the cattle themselves are drug addicts. That you are the meat that you are buying at the end, you are buying a meat which was addicted to drugs, because it's fed drugs in order for it to grow bigger. So this is what they don't want anymore, because this is expensive for them to produce um, a steak of protein. It's more, 1 kilogram of protein is expensive for them, because they have to grow the cattle. So they want the insects which will be growing in a few hours and will be ready to be shipped for consumption. At For them, it's cheaper production, because these are genetically modified insects. They won't be waiting for that season, because insects are seasonal. So it means the insects will not be seasonal anymore, because they will be genetically modified. They will be available in all seasons. So this is the plan. The plan is to uh, give people to change the diet of the people from meat base, because for the business it does not make sense. It takes them too long to produce the final product. But if it was insects, it was gonna be too quick, and they were gonna be able to make more money. They are already using insects on coffee, on other things that people are consuming. If you are not producing your own food, then there's a lot of things that they are using that you wouldn't ideally want to consume. Insects are part of the things that are used in sweets and other things that mm, looks beautiful when you look at them. Or coffee as well. They are using cockroaches in coffee to produce a different taste of coffee beans. They are doing that at the moment. They are already implementing their plan. But this is the plan. Uh, how is the plan going to be implemented across the world? This is how the plan is getting implemented. Not how is going to be implemented, how is getting implemented across the world. Queen Precious says insect-based food. Of course, it's insect-based food. It's cheaper to produce. It makes sense for business. No, not the coffee. In the coffee as well. Yeah, in the coffee as well, the insects are there, the cockroaches are there. They are grinding the cockroaches. They are drying them and grinding them. When they are dry, put them some spice, grind them and put them in the coffee beans to make the coffee beans more. Because as well, you have to wait for seasons for the coffee beans to produce. So they don't want to wait for any time to produce. So these are this is the plan. Insect based food makes sense for production and making this thing a commodity. What happened when white people came to Africa first time? What did they do? Food. Able. Okay, sorry. Okay, I've got some visitors. I'll come back live. Able.